this is the fruit basket number 7?
7.
Wow.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you say we're out of the infancy stage now?
Yeah, what would that make us? Toddlers?
Yeah, toddlers.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Great. I have a phone in my pocket. I want to take that out really quick.
How dare you?
I know. Well, it's still on Do Not Disturb from the movie, so.
Which we'll get to.
We absolutely will.
We saw the new Star Wars movie.
Solo.
A Star Wars story.
A Star Wars story.
Or, as it's called in China, Ranger Solo.
Is that what it is?
Yes, because they don't...
Ranger Solo.
They don't like Star Wars, and they also... Which is odd, right?
That is odd.
But they also don't like... well, they just don't really find it interesting. It just doesn't do well there, which Disney was kind of surprised by because the Marvel movies do amazing in China. But they don't like Star Wars. They don't get it. I'm not really sure the exact reason. I'm probably going to make somebody angry. But they're also not crazy about diversity, which is a whole other discussion.
Wow, it's almost like their whole population is Chinese.
You would think. Right?
Yeah.
Logic would dictate that if you and I went to China, we would be very strange looking.
Mm-hmm.
But
we absolutely would. Wait, before we get any further into this, I'm going to take off my shoes because I want to be all comfortable. They're also cutting into my pinky toe a little bit.
Are they?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. They add about 2 inches to my height.
Did you feel like a very tall man today?
Well, I feel like I'm wearing heels. So I did feel like a tall something. And it was nice. But right now, since I'm sitting on like a stool, I've got to like prop my feet up.
Yeah.
I don't want to have this 2-inch platform on
That's
it. They're Creepers
give
by
up
Rihanna.
like me and then wear slippers all the time.
I know, you're orthopedic.
Orthopedic? They're like, well, I mean, I guess they could be. They're sort of what I would
No,
imagine.
they're super comfortable. You gave one to me.
I did.
I gave a pair, excuse me.
I would imagine it's what Hugh Hefner probably wore. Just house shoes.
Hugh Hefner?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
R.I.P.
R-
Let me...
That is really hot.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're drinking this at all.
Well, it's little tiny baby bird sips.
Baby bird sips.
So kind of a recurring thing now. Well, it's not recurring, but we talked about it on the last one. Are animals that make noises that you don't expect. So you saw this clip. Let's set this one up. So this is the sound that a lynx makes when it's fighting another lynx.
A lynx.
But
this cat-like
and
thing.
if you don't know what lynx are, they're basically like a 40-pound mountain lion. That's kind of the way that I would describe them. They even have like little tufted ears. Intense. And they have like little weird tiny like dog tails. They're very strange looking. So if you're only listening, this is what's making this sound right now in Canada.
A dog cat. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, that is abrasive.
What do you think that they're saying to each other right now?
It's tough to say. I think they're friends.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. But I would like to think that they are.
Yeah, I'm not so certain about it. There's one thing coming up that I love very much. It's okay. What I like about that moment is it's almost like when you take two magnets and put them at the wrong thing. It's like they almost tried to make contact and then pushed away.
I love it.
I think I just missed it. Sorry.
Oh. What are they doing?
This is so freaking cool. Who runs into this?
Who runs into this? He's
silly Canadian man, but also
who runs into this? That was Australian.
Same deal.
Yeah, they're the Australia of the Americas.
Yeah, I think that's actually probably pretty accurate.
The Northern Australia.
No, we're definitely the Australia of America, South and North.
You think he wants to get out, little Peter?
Is he scratching at the door?
I don't know. He's just sitting there, little Peterkins.
If he scratches, let him out. But otherwise, he's gonna fucking bitch if I close the door, and he's gonna make. He just wants wherever he cannot be. That's essentially what he does. Now he's licking the door.
Ooh, tasty.
Which is new.
Yeah.
So anyway,
these guys, not so friendly.
Well, so this is... so people used to have these as pets in the 80s.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
really?
And then became illegal because people were just turning up dead.
Oh, uh-huh.
Because it's that thing that is pretty true what people say about cats is if they were any larger than they are, they would just kill you. Mm-hmm. And I think even on accident, because cats just don't really think about... dogs seem to know that, this is a gentle bite. Mm-hmm. Cats don't really seem to give a fuck. They hit that threshold of just, hey... Fuck you. Which
I had
is,
a cat named Kuda who I was like the smallest in the household. I was like the baby, I guess. Until I was about like 10 or 12, that cat would attack me. It would corner me and attack me, pounce at me through the air. It's crazy. It would so we had these handles in our house that were like little they looked like I don't know, how would you describe them? They weren't doorknobs, they were like handles, so they would go up and down. The cat learned how to open them. Kuda learned how to get into rooms, and he would get into the bathroom because our bathroom didn't have a lock, and he would close the door behind him, and I would be in the shower, and I would get out of the shower, and he would attack me. He would scratch up my dainty little legs, my 12-year-old legs.
only the finest of 12-year-old legs.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was. I mean, I loved Kuda, but man,
Cats are kind of punks.
Yeah, they play, but they don't know when playing is.
I don't even think
too much for.
See, I don't think they
humans.
I don't think that dogs play. Dogs will play and chase you and run. Cats just sort of like. I can tell their brain switches to, oh, this is prey now. I'm gonna kill this.
I'm on a hunt.
Yeah, I'm on a hunt because they don't have. Cats don't have. Yeah, they do have gentle, but it only lasts about 2 seconds, and then it goes straight to like injuring you. Dogs would never like if it's a good dog, it would never intentionally injure you. All cats will intentionally injure you.
Yeah.
And then everyone's gonna be like, "Ooh, like my cat's really nice. He's a lot like a dog." They all say that. Every cat that gets complimented is because they say it's like a dog.
Wow.
Because dogs are far superior. Anyway.
Whoa.
We can.
These dog cat hybrids are something from
So that's
another
the
planet.
sound. Yeah, that's the sound that a lynx makes. They just scream. So yeah, we can talk about Star Wars. So
Do you want to jump into it? Okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking. Well, I was kind of thinking, what would you like to do? Would you like to do? Would you be able to give some information about it without spoiling anything, or do you just want to dive in so we don't have to worry about it?
I think we should just dive in.
I think so too.
I will definitely slip up.
So this podcast may not have a lot of content because we're going to talk primarily about the movie. Sean will put timestamps if you want to go back and forth.
Yep. The timestamp is right here.
Thank you.
It's also in the description if you want to check it out.
I liked it.
I did too.
Yeah.
I had a very good time watching this movie.
So let's preface. So we've both, you and I have seen all of them. We saw the last two together. So we saw Last Jedi and we saw this one. I didn't hate The Last Jedi as much as everybody else did, although I thought that it failed as a film. I just thought it was an A plot, a B plot, a C plot, and a D plot, and they ended up underwriting characters and then not making them terribly interesting. Fucking BB-8 got a side plot. It was stupid. The Rose character, we didn't need it. You should have used all the energy you put into writing about Rose to make Rey a more interesting character, because as far as I was concerned, she was the least interesting part of the whole movie, even though she was what I was most excited about, except for Han Solo, which they killed. So a preface to this movie, Han Solo was why I liked Star Wars in the first place. When I was about 6 years old, so about the time that you would end up seeing these movies, they re-released the original movies in theaters. As a special edition. So I had this really cool opportunity as a kid to go actually see the original ones on the big screen. And I remember my parents were watching the news, and there was a deleted scene that they were going to reintroduce back into A New Hope, which was Han Solo talking to Jabba the Hutt and walking around his tail, and he steps on it, and they'd kind of used, it was when CGI was kind of coming in, so they could. Originally, the deleted scene just had a guy in a costume that was Jabba the Hutt, but they were able to make the guy in the costume into the slug that we know now. But I remember looking at what Han Solo was wearing, and it was like the boots and the colors and the kind of the 70s cut of everything, and then like the holster and the blaster. And like I remember seeing like just the devices that were on the belt and being like, my 6-year-old mind goes, that is the fucking coolest person.
Sounds
and
like...
even the swagger he had in the scene, just like, I'm like, that was what was the hook and line for me. And throughout the whole time, you know, every kid loves those movies. I never cared about Luke or Leia or anybody else. It was all about Han Solo. So then to watch the new The Force Awakens, the first new one they put out, and then he gets killed, which, you know, we kind of
disappointing.
It was like, okay, well, there goes what I loved, you know. And this is, of course, long before they knew we were going to do this, release this movie, the Han Solo movie. But after seeing The Last Jedi, I was like, oh fuck, they're going to fuck it up. They're going to, because Disney, as far as The Last Jedi was concerned, was more concerned about shoehorning a diversity of cast over what may have been a good story. And I think what you and I agreed on, what would have made The Last Jedi great, would have been that moment where Kylo Ren says,
God,
just good, bad, what's the fucking difference?
Let's join each other. Yeah.
And that would have made them, it would have fixed everything that was wrong with the movie. But
imagine if they had.
But instead, she's just like, well, I'm not conflicted at all.
I'm going to hold on to a good that doesn't really exist.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it just, that the movie was just a failure.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching it, which that's, I think that...
it was a fun movie. The Last Jedi we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I think people are too hard on that one. And I'm sorry I did have so much preamble about it. It's kind of important to why I enjoyed this one, which shocked the fuck out of me. Because because there was so much shit about what they were doing. Look, I mean, I think in all fairness, I wouldn't go so far as to call Rey a Mary Sue. And a Mary Sue is a writing thing that happens in film. And there's also a Gary Stu, which is the guy version. It's a character you give every ability to. He or she is super likable, super funny, super adept at every skill.
They can do no wrong.
They can do no wrong. They're perfect.
Their character.
And Rey was flawed in the first one, and interesting. But then in The Last Jedi, she's translating Chewbacca to Luke Skywalker, who's known the fucking rug for 40 years. And so it's like, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Other than just to piss off the fans. And that's the thing that really makes me frustrated about the way that they handle this. And it was the same thing, again, I'm talking about Ghostbusters again, I'm sorry. It's the same thing they did with that, where they go, you didn't like it because you're a mouth-breathing nerd who lives in their basement with their mom. Like, did you notice that about that? Like,
there was a lot of that went along with the new Ghostbusters, and it was frustrating because, well, while I went to go see it and I enjoyed it, I'm very easy to please. I'm not really a movie critic. I don't have that skill set of pointing things out that are just stylistically bad. I enjoyed it, the Ghostbusters movie, but there were still problems with it, and I couldn't really express those concerns that I had.
At the end of the day, it just wasn't funny.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And it was a waste of a super talented cast. So I don't know who was responsible for making that movie so fucking unfunny and weird, but it just failed. It failed on a large scale. I think more so than Last Jedi failed. But the tough part that now I find myself cornered into as a fan of these original intellectual properties that are now the blockbusters that are really the only things getting released in theaters anymore, is that we are sort of being chastised because we want sort of some of the integrity of it to be held in place. I don't really care if you write in a diverse cast. That doesn't bother me, but don't mention it. Just sort of have them be a character who is black or white or Asian or whatever, girl or guy, but just don't make them a Mary Sue, but also just have them just be a person. I was saying to you, what's so hard is that they've kind of, I had that kind of conflicting moment where I thought, am I not liking these movies that are coming out because I don't feel represented in them? And then I had to have that moment of like, no, these studios have put that fucking thought in my head, because I can name hundreds of movies in which it was a character that looked nothing like me or an actor, and I never fucking thought about it because no media publication was telling me, like, white people don't like this movie because of the diversity of casting. And you're like,
that's gotten absurd.
It's gotten really bad, and it is so fucking racist and like in a weird kind of sneaky subversive way. Which I think we even kind of touched on this a little bit on the last podcast.
It's not like that thing with the media and how, saying that white people hate this movie, whatever. It's not the kind of blatant racism that we're supposed to bark at. It's that underground sort of in the shadows racism that we don't notice because it's portrayed as not being racist. It's portrayed as the exact opposite of it. And that's really dangerous that, we can't express dissenting opinions on movies that have diverse casts, because then we get flagged as, racists and sexists and homophobes.
Right.
Which is absurd. I mean,
well, I think if we
I've known a couple gay people in my life.
Well, even as gay people, I mean, this is in all seriousness. If we don't toe the line that they want, then we are considered. Well, I actually think that gayness is sort of out the window. It's not really a minority status anymore, according to them. You laugh, but I'm pretty serious. But here's the thing. So like, so we'll get into it. So
Yeah, we haven't talked about the movie
which
at all.
is why all that preamble is to say that this one handled all of the diverse characters really well. For instance, a massive failing of The Last Jedi in terms of character. I won't even talk about Rose. I mean, we all know that's the one that gets shown the most. But is Admiral Holdo? What's her name? The actress.
And you like that actress, right?
I love her.
forget.
Laura Dern.
Yeah, Laura Dern.
I love Laura Dern, but the character was, one, unnecessary, and two, it was the second she came on screen, it was getting up in Poe's face and being like, oh, no, dumb man. You don't have to know everything. And then if she had just told him what the fuck she was doing, it would have saved them going to that stupid gambling planet and failing that massive mission.
We're talking about The Last Jedi.
Yeah, sorry. So that character was just dumb, underwritten, and stupid, and it was just like, it was so shoehorned in. Look, it's a lady person with tits on the screen right now. Look at this.
Hey.
And then, but you have then the Han Solo's love interest in this. What was her name? Kira. Complex, well written, interesting, subdued acting, had some fucking badass moments where she's fucking throwing the grenades, can handle herself.
That was so fucking cool when she threw those grenades.
Yes.
And they did handle it super well. And because of the way they handled all of the characters, it felt like a Star Wars movie.
Yes.
It didn't feel like some kind of like
because
ploy
each character
or AU.
had charm.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
there was literally, Last Jedi was charmless. Every character was written with unfunny lines. Their goals were not clear and didn't make sense, and everything they tried ended in failure. And in this one, it's like, okay, so even I was like, okay, they're gonna really fluff up Lando. Like Lando, and they did in the beginning. You're like he's got swagger, he's cool, he's way kind of cooler than everybody else. But then he's shown to be really narcissistic, weak, and a cheater. And you're like, this is what I liked about this movie is it didn't really have a clear moral compass.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like,
not until like the last 10 minutes was there ever any mention of being good or bad or anything like that. There wasn't a side to choose from in this movie at all until the last 10 minutes.
And that was the kind of the thing that I liked about it a lot was that, and I really hope I'm being clear. So if I'm not, so where The Last Jedi failed was where it could have been that gray area, right? Because after watching it, I kind of thought about Star Wars as an intellectual property, and it's really limited when you think about it. It's good, evil, Nazi-like evil guy. One person rises up from the ashes who's a nothing to then defeat the evil. And so the only only place you can really go, or direction rather, is to create gray area, right? Because that's the only thing that hasn't been done yet. And they fucking didn't do it in The Last Jedi. In this one, they did. And I think that it kind of solidified to me why he's always been my favorite character. Because to me, Luke was just kind of a pussy, try-hard, young boy who he just was not interesting to me. Like the dude, I mean, I think that a lot of it was, I was cynical at 9. So it's like that character kind of just, I got him.
Yeah.
He made sense to me. And also, the fan service things they do, like Woody Harrelson says, just don't trust anybody. And that, I remember hearing that line in A New Hope when Han Solo says it to, I don't know if it's to Luke or to Obi-Wan. It's been a while, but I'm like, yep, that makes a lot of sense to me. This character makes sense. He's kind of a loner. He's kind of guarded. And that's kind of who I was. And so it just, in this movie, it just did it all. It did all a service. So, anyways, anything?
I want to jump into Chewbacca's entrance.
Oh man,
that was so
good.
Wonderful. I loved. So I don't know if that backstory was canon before, but I really really loved the introduction and how they
really quickly about the canon. This is what's really tricky. Lucas, so there's huge expanded universe stuff in book form, and Lucasfilm has not honored it ever. I didn't read them. I would love to talk to my brother about this because he does read all of them. But the card game they play, Sabacc, is created by the nerds who wrote the books.
Really?
So it's possible.
So it's probably...
It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't really know. That would be pretty lame, though, if the writers got every point from other canon that had been written. Well, that's not even canon though. It's
that if the whole plot was
because the only canon is the movies. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't because the expanded universe is never really endorsed by
Right.
Lucasfilm. But anyway, you can.
It was super cool. So that scene where Han gets thrown into the pit and they're talking about the beast. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of beast is going to come out of there? It's fucking Chewbacca, all stringy and gross and muddy. Looks like a swamp monster.
What I liked about it was I was worried. There were a lot of ways that I thought they were going to write these things into the movie, right? And the way that I thought it was going to end up happening was the same. I thought they're gonna. Do you remember Rogue One? Do you remember how she's just in captivity in the beginning? Like she's a little kid and then she's just in prison.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna do that, and then Han was just gonna be sitting next to Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Something was gonna happen. He saves Chewbacca's life, and then I'm just like, ugh, they're gonna just do that.
Yeah,
right?
which would have been so boring.
Right.
But the way they did it was so cool.
I didn't expect
it at all. Yeah.
And I also something about seeing him muddy and kind of murdery. I liked it, and it made the whole thing kind of sweeter to kind of have that moment where, and even him speaking Wookiee, which I was like, oh fuck, it actually was okay.
Yeah.
Because he didn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
It was just like that one moment where he's like, I'm one of the only people that can understand you, so that's the connection we needed to make this make sense. Therefore, we're buds now, and then Chewbacca ends up helping him escape. I also this actor I think is quite a bit smaller than Harrison Ford, but I actually like the juxtaposition of how teensy he is with Chewbacca. It made it kind of cuter because Chewbacca just can toss him around.
It was lovely.
Really quickly though, I mean, so much drama surrounding this movie was this actor.
Oh, yeah.
And this was hard for me because there was a movie that came out by the Coen brothers called Hail Caesar. And he was one of the leads in it, and he was excellent. And so when everyone was saying that he needed an acting coach, I was like, what the fuck happened? Like the Coen brothers auditioned him, who I respect greatly, and they make some of the best movies of all time. And he was great in the movie. So did he like forget, or is the script really that bad? I was kind of leaning more towards that. But then the trailer kind of, the moments they chose to edit into the trailer weren't flattering to his ability, but point being, he was great. I thought he was excellent.
I wonder why that rumor went around.
It could have been true, but although it's hard to say really because this movie's had so much drama. Like they had two, they had two directors that Kathleen Kennedy fired, and then Ron Howard came in to reshoot about 70% of it. So we don't really know, and those rumors started before Phil Lord and the other guy were fired. So I don't.
It might have been direction that was the issue, and he just couldn't take their direction because maybe they weren't as good.
Well, apparently, so this is the weird thing that the two original directors, Phil Lord and I forgot the other guy's name.
No idea.
Their movies that they did were not anything like this. So they directed the Lego Movie.
Oh,
and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So I don't think they've done anything live action before this.
What?
Which is weird.
That's bizarre.
And the people were saying, the kind of rumors coming off set, and I don't know if these are true, but were trying to do these improvisational takes.
Oh.
And they would do like 7 or 8 takes, and the actors were, and I think that like maybe that had something to do with it. He's like, I'm not really this kind of actor.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So that was a big concern. Going in was this actor playing Han Solo. The one thing that did bug me though is whoever styled his hair, I fucking
You didn't
hated
like it?
No, because it looked like very much like a wig to me.
Oh,
and then also the way they coiffed it in the back, it just was odd. I don't really know why they chose to do it that way. I suspect it was a wig and just not a very good one.
No, I didn't think it was a wig at all, and I didn't notice any problems with it actually. I liked the way it was parted.
Good.
It was still like messy, and I think it needed to be, but it was neat enough.
Well, good. Then I guess, I agree to disagree on that one. The other concern was that I was hearing about this robot in the movie.
Yeah, the robot.
Who was like a activist robot.
Yeah,
and
robot
she
activist.
But they killed her in the perfect amount of time. Like right when she started to get annoying to me, she was gone.
Yeah. I think, well, of course they wrote her to be annoying. And I think if I were to analyze her character, it's that she was well-meaning but misinformed.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to
Most activists.
that in this period of time
Yeah, I
right
agree.
now. We have a lot of activism that is just absurd. And you saw in the film when she releases all the robots and all the slaves, it caused total anarchy. It caused them to improvise on the entire plan. Not necessarily the best thing. It worked out for them, but there was absolute chaos when her activism stood in front of the plan.
Right. So what I liked
She died because of her plan.
that's a really good point. And what I liked about this movie too, and she's part of this, is that there were a lot of fan service moments, and most of the time fan service in these movies make me just retch because they're so shoehorned in. But the ones they chose to use in this movie, except for maybe one, which I'll talk about at the very end, they're very subtle and well executed. For example, so when she dies, she is the co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon with Lando, and she has this map or GPS type thing, whatever, space GPS in her head, and it's one of the best in the galaxy, blah 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 blah. So they end up taking that part of her hardware out to connect it to the ship, and then she becomes one with the Millennium Falcon, which actually works as fan service because there's a part where C-3PO communicates with the Millennium Falcon, and he talks about how rude and abrasive it is, which makes sense if it's her talking to him. You know? So that was kind of cool.
I love that.
Another one that I loved is there's this weird thing in the two movies that Lando's in, so Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, where he calls him Han and not Han, and they addressed it in this movie, which because Lando calls him Han to kind of fuck with him, to be like, I don't care what your name is, I don't, who gives a shit, you're Han. I thought that was done so incredibly well. I was trying to, there were a lot that I'm not remembering now, but there were a lot of just very subtle fan service moments that I thought were really, really well done.
Yeah, but then the bad one you were gonna say?
Well, we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
I'm trying to think where there wasn't a character that there wasn't a character I didn't like. And the two that I didn't really care for, they killed in the perfect amount of time, which was the monkey co-pilot.
You didn't care for the monkey co-pilot?
It was enough. It was enough. I thought he was fine.
He was cute.
But enough. I didn't want him in the whole movie, which that was fine, the amount of time they gave him, because it would have been too crowded. Like he was
when
too
he
much,
died, it was like, oh.
It was
Oh, well.
it would have been too much of a personality. Like that's the kind of thing where it's a mistake that Rogue One made, where they wrote too many personalities, and then it was like no one got really much development because you had too many fucking people. And this one didn't suffer from that same mistake, which was such a relief to see. So the big mistake to me was at the end of the movie, Han's love interest, I keep forgetting her name. Kira betrays him.
Yes.
Doesn't hurt him, but ends up the whole movie is based around them stealing this fuel source, which is a point of contention for me because they started this in The Last Jedi, where fuel was never mentioned in the Star Wars canon or universe ever, and then The Last Jedi decided that now the ships have fuel. This movie is about them stealing fuel, pretty much the whole thing, essentially. Which is it. They do it all right. But at the end of the movie, she ends up betraying Han and taking off on this ship. But before she takes off, she contacts
Darth Maul,
which appeared to be Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And so there's a timeline problem because Darth Maul got killed in The Phantom Menace. So he only made it into the first prequel movie. And the second one is when Obi-Wan Kenobi goes to the place where they're making the clones that then become stormtroopers. This movie had stormtroopers in it.
It did, which is, I didn't know this because I wasn't super familiar.
The Empire wasn't really formulated at the time that Darth Maul was after Darth. Like it was still too, like Anakin had to be an adult before the Empire came to be, and then burned alive. So,
do you think it happens during the Phantom Menace? Do you think that would have been possible at all? That this course of events for the Solo movie happened in between the beginning and the end of Phantom Menace?
Well,
do you think that's possible?
That's what they intended, but again, the Empire didn't exist. Meaning, like the Imperial cruisers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
like all of that stuff didn't really exist. And then, like, he even has that line that says that, like, well, where do you want to go? Anywhere where the Empire isn't.
Yeah.
And the Empire wasn't it didn't
That's
exist
weird.
yet.
You wouldn't think that they would let that slip through. They
Or
would
why
have an
would they
expert on
choose
the lore on hand.
Darth Maul.
Yeah, it could have been anybody else.
It could have been Vader. It could have been the Emperor. It could have been anything. But no,
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense then.
it didn't to me either. I don't really know why they made that choice. And you know what? It kind of sucked because as much as the prequels were shit, they had moments. And I think Darth Maul was one of the best things that the prequels did. I think he was a great aesthetic villain. So I was happy to see him, although
it felt
the
very out of
actor
place.
looked very old.
Was it the same guy?
I assumed that it was
Ooh.
because the dude looked way too old. I mean, he
Uh-huh.
looked, even under all that red makeup, looked old as fuck. 'Cause, I mean,
There's not enough hologramming in the world that could save you from wrinkles and
yeah, I mean, it can't save you from 25 years. But yeah, so interesting choice. And I also don't remember if Darth Maul ever spoke in The Phantom Menace, which was interesting to hear him speak in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I think he always had somebody speaking for him. I could be wrong. It's been many years since I've seen it, but and you're not going to get me to rewatch it. So, but yeah, so that was interesting. The costuming too. I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, let's jump into that.
So much of what I loved about Star Wars was. So actually, let me back up. Sorry, I'm gonna hang on.
Okay. Oh, I hope you realize that is my glass of water. Oh, you are dribbling everywhere. Oh,
So
come on.
what's I gonna say?
Get that for you. Costuming.
Yes, but I had to go a little further back. Oh, set design, and then So what I was saying to you in the car was that I think people are so hard on these movies because they act as if the original trilogy was 3 great films. It was
The gold standard of sci-fi.
It's not even science fiction if you really want to get technical. It's more of a space opera, which I know sounds super nerdy, but it's not technically science fiction. And I think the differentiation is because you're making things up. You're not like kind of showing what the future could be. That's why it's different. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Empire is a great film. Empire Strikes Back. They're all good movies, but they're very, very, very well done blockbusters. And I think that they were unusual, so they have kind of solidified themselves as this cultural flashpoint. They're not, but we hold them to the same regard as The Godfather, and they're just not. You know what I mean? And kind of the same thing now where we see the new ones come out and their numbers get so massively inflated. Like I think the Last Jedi in the other and Force Awakens are holding it like 90 something, and it's just like, dude, they're fine, but they're not that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Like I think you and I would both give The Last Jedi about a 60%. So like we didn't hate it as much as everybody else, but it wasn't it just wasn't a great, amazing movie. It wasn't a 90%. And then so like now that we're kind of inflating those numbers, it's like, well, what is reality? You know? So this movie is sitting at about a 70% right now on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score, and it's what it deserves. I think it was like a 75. It was like a C plus.
Yeah, I'd give it a B plus.
Yeah.
Well, I am, like I said earlier, very easy to please, but it was super enjoyable, and there weren't as many faults as I had seen in previous recent Star Wars movies. This franchise is, I think this sort of lifted up the franchise for me.
Oh yeah.
It was such a pleasure.
And Alex, and so like the preface of that is kind of why, like, what the next part is for me. So
Yeah.
So much of what made them great movies was the actors, the costumes, the set design, like world creating, and not really the story. Because the story, if you think about it, it's like I said to you in the car, is basically like a glorified samurai movie. It's good versus evil and a sword, and you know it's not. You know, with cowboys thrown in, which is Han Solo, and which is why, you know, everyone should love him. Because he's the most American part of that whole story.
Yeah.
But, so this one succeeded in all the ways that the other ones did, in the sense that, like, The costuming was great. The set design was great. The world building was great. The character designs were all great. And so it felt like Star Wars.
Yeah, it was. It did feel like a Star Wars movie, whereas some of the others just, I don't know. It focused on plot progression. I mean, you were saying that like great characters, great, all these things. When you put so much focus into something like plot, like I think they did with Last Jedi, you lose out on a lot of other things.
The problem with The Last Jedi wasn't they didn't focus on plot. It's like they did.
No, that they did is what I'm saying.
No, they did. That's not they didn't is what I'm trying to say. It was, the plot wasn't the premise wasn't good because nothing happened in that movie. Think about it. It's like they literally ended exactly where they started. So nothing happened, and then they all the energy they put into writing the Rose character should have just been put into other characters to make them more interesting. And then this one, it was like no matter what tertiary character you got, it was just enough exposure. I think the most featured people are Woody Harrelson and Han, which is perfect. And Chewie doesn't talk, so it's like you kind of just get moments from him. And again, and like I was saying to you when we were coming out of the movie, where the Last Jedi failed too is the funny moments weren't funny. They were just weird and kind of awkward, and you kind of just get like a
yeah,
that's all it really got from me.
A little nose.
And even then, sometimes it was just kind of made you like cringe.
Yeah.
In the original movies, it was the funniest parts to me personally were Chewie's sort of fish out of water things, and then Han being an arrogant prick that would then blow up in his face. And this movie had those elements
It was based on them. I mean, it had to focus on them, and that's what felt so good. That when the focus was on these characters in previous movies, it did feel good. And now that this movie is entirely focused on Han's story, they kept that substance to him. That
So
good feeling substance.
Do you think the reality is that they have to build these around the original characters? Because they don't seem to be able to write a original character.
Original characters have just been failing. I mean, in the movies that we've seen,
I liked Woody Harrelson's character. He was great.
That's true.
He's dead now, but he was great.
Then what would be the difference? What do you think is?
I just think
what makes his original character different from Rey and Finn and Poe?
Because he was a real person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he had a lot more natural flaws.
Poe and Finn, like Poe feels like the all-American hero, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Finn, they've just made into like a clown, like walking around with his suit, squirting water out and shit. Like they just made him into like a fucking buffoon. And so, and even in the other one, he was kind of just like relieved.
He was goofy.
He was useless.
Yeah.
The only purpose he really served was getting Poe off of the whatever, you know. And so, I don't know. I think that this one just, and I think it might have been Ron Howard, honestly. I think that he's the one that ended up saving this. But
well, who's directing the last one in the new trilogy?
J.J. Abrams. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Which apparently J.J. Abrams said that if we didn't like The Last Jedi, we are a sexist.
Well, I'm very excited to see what he does.
So I would like to say to J.J. Abrams, which he's going to be listening to this podcast, is if you really care that much about diversity, you should quit your job, not direct the last movie, and then let a black woman in a wheelchair direct it. Because then you would be super inclusive. Fucking prick.
Oh my God. Well, thank you, J.J. Abrams, for listening. We hope you have a lovely night, and we know that you're clicking away now.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to add about it?
Well, I do want to just specifically costuming. I thought it was very cool. There were so many fur coats that I loved.
Oh, I just remembered something.
Yes, please.
Sorry. So
I love that face.
So a big thing too about the aesthetic of the character is his gun, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
How fucking, so I had like a lot of cringy thoughts about it because like I knew that Woody Harrelson was going to give it to him, but I thought it was going to be like, you know, here's to you, kid, and like, well, great, you know, you need a better gun to and then like gives it to him.
This is my first gun.
How cool was it that it was a rifle that he disassembled, and then it
Right.
became the smaller blaster, and then he just kind of tosses it to him like as an afterthought.
As if it means like nothing.
Yeah, but like the fact, like how now I want to rewatch the thing of what it because I saw him carrying it assembled.
It was pretty big, right?
And then he disassembled it, and then it became
So
a smaller
cool.
thing. And I'm like, that I'm so, like I love guns and weapons and things, and it was like to just see them build like an original.
Was that
prop.
the same prop gun that you were telling me about a long time ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's the Blade Runner one, and then that one. Those are
And
my
that
two
one.
favorite.
Yeah.
like pieces of I think movie props of all time. To be honest.
That is so. Well, didn't you buy a replica or something?
Mhm, yeah.
Do you still have it?
I don't know where it is anymore. I
Oh.
was like 10 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd love to find that.
I think that like if I make money again, I'll have both. And,
Yeah.
just like I'll really break the bank on them because I
love
think
that.
those again, it was like his costume, his gun, and his
it was
thing
classic,
that made me.
and it felt so
it
good.
as a kid, it made me get into it. You know,
Yeah.
kind of like the same. I mean,
Was Han Solo your gay awakening?
not. Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of.
Could have been.
Yeah, I think there was something about the confident man. I think that was attractive to me.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't think I ever found Harrison Ford sexy per se, but I did find his like demeanor sexy. You know, and like
I think he's
like,
yeah,
like
he was
even as a
very
little
attractive.
kid going like that's a man. You know what I mean? And that's like why I didn't like Luke. He just seemed so kind of like ineffective
He's like
to me.
boyish.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but even Return of the Jedi, Luke. I mean, it was, and he's saving Han's ass. I was just kind of like, yeah, you're still not. You're like the dude who's like trying on Dad's pants, but you're still not Dad yet. But yeah, so. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
It's pretty good.
Gosh, I liked the some of the weapons that were in it. I mean, we were just talking about the guns.
Yeah, I like Woody Harrelson's
I liked
gun
Woody
and-
Harrelson's gun. I liked the hand blades
Oh yeah, that's cool.
that the villain had. Whatever his name was.
Yeah, I forgot it too already.
Dryden.
Nice.
Dryden Voss. Super cool. He had
Jesus.
these double hand blades.
See, that's that thing I've told
that
you.
were brass knuckles, but they were double-edged blades, and it's super cool. They glowed.
We talked about this before that you're better at remembering the characters' names. I can just remember the actors' names.
Yeah.
and I only remember it because he's in the Marvel. He's a character in the new Marvel movie, and that's the only reason I remember the actor.
Wait, Infinity War?
Yeah, he's like the Vision guy.
Oh, spoiler, he dies.
Well,
Right?
That's why that movie's fucking so stupid, and why I don't care. Is like they're all gonna come back.
Yeah, and they
Like,
killed.
it's so
if they
stupid.
do kill those characters, they're not very important. Vision, come on.
That's kind of a big thing for me with this movie is that I kind of said to myself, if they ruin this, I'm not going to go see another one in theater. Like
Whoa.
I won't do it.
you won't give them your money.
No, because again, like I didn't. The whole internet just fucking hated The Last Jedi with a fervor that I don't think it quite deserved. But again, I just thought it was such a failure, and also like to me, I saw no end in sight about this shoehorning in diversity that is welcome, but write it well.
Yeah.
Like, just have them be a normal fucking person who happens to be whatever. Don't make
And
it.
that's what this one did, I think.
Yes.
We had a lot of diverse characters and no mention of it. It wasn't the most important part of the film.
No.
And it was lovely.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to enjoy a film and have that subconsciously there. Didn't notice it until we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
But the diversity was there. It meets the fucking quota that we require now.
It was just good.
That's not like a bitter thing of me to say. I'm not bitter about diversity quotas.
I don't think it's a good idea, but you should just get the person who's the best.
The best, yeah. The most
the part.
talented, yeah.
And like, dude,
Best fitted.
Donald Glover should just be in everything.
He's so fucking good. I loved
There's
him.
a part. So if you go see it, by the way, but also because I know that a lot of people are going to resist going to see it because they have such a bad taste in their mouth about the Last Jedi.
Right.
But just go see it, and then if you hate it, please tell me because I would be surprised. But I also, in fairness, we literally just saw it and it came into this, so I may kind of have. But I don't know. I had good. You know what it was when I had low expectations when I went to see The Force Awakens. Do you remember that part where she gets the Millennium Falcon, she stalls it, and then it kind of drops, and then she guns it, and then picks it up again? that was like that moment where I'm like, fuck, I'm all in.
Yeah.
The second you realize the beast is Chewbacca, I was like, not skeptical anymore. I'm in. This is cool.
Gonna dive right into that mud pit.
Yeah, because there was like the beginning part and a few. I said it felt weird. Because the beginning felt weird.
There were weird moments at the beginning, and it was off to a wobbly start.
And then it started, and then it picked up, and it ended up being good. But
they introduced more familiar things.
Yeah.
Even familiar characters. Chewbacca. It was
Sweet
very,
Chewbacca.
very, very sweet.
Giant space dog. But yeah, no, I'm very. Oh yeah, so yeah, I didn't finish what I was saying. It was in terms of the Marvel movie because after we saw Black Panther and I was so underwhelmed, I kind of after I actually saw Civil War, which was the one that came out before the Black Panther was introduced in. I thought it was so fucking stupid and bad. Again, because there's no fucking stakes. Like they don't kill any characters. You know none of them are gonna die because they all have their own separate movies coming out. And there's just who gives a shit? I mean, like I just don't care about those movies. And so when this new one came out, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking watch this. And I said to myself, if this movie sucked, the Han Solo movie, I would not see anymore. So, good job, Disney. You got me to go see the next one. But
man, the thing about stakes,
cautiously
though,
optimistic now.
even though that this was a prequel or a pre-story to Han Solo, the stakes were still there. They built the stakes on original characters and original plot lines instead of giving us, oh my god, Han Solo might die in this movie, because he absolutely wouldn't.
Yeah, we don't know he doesn't, yeah.
So we would know that he's not going to die if they put in a scene where he gets shot with a blaster and he's like gasping for air. We would know he's not going to die. He'll pull through because he exists in later movies. That would be no stakes, but they put stakes into this from other characters and other
Well,
plot.
I think what the cool part was that that's how you write this well, because we don't really know who Woody Harrelson is or the love interest, but we also know that they're not going to be around by the time New Hope comes around. So either they have to die or something has to happen. So it kind of is that thing of like, if you start to like them, like you do with Woody Harrelson, and I liked her as well, you do you're concerned that they're going to die. And then when he does die, you're like, oh man, that sucks. It was a fitting
There was
end,
a lovely moment at the end
Yeah.
where he shoots him. Han shoots Woody Harrelson's character. I don't remember his name.
I don't remember
man.
either, yeah.
And they have a moment together. It's not, I shoot you, I hate you. It's I shoot you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of had to.
Yeah. And he says, yeah, you should have done it because I was going to kill you.
Yeah. Which was really, really cool. I like that. It was an honest moment, and it didn't feel like they were trying too hard to pull at your heartstrings.
Yep.
It was lovely.
Yep. Well, anyway, go see it. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So we got a few more minutes here.
And spoilers. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. What are we at? 46?
Yeah, I knew that was probably going to take up most of the time.
Holy shit.
So we're talking about the kind of the neck beard thing of die by the blade, live by the blade. And I found this interesting.
Die by the fedora.
This
live by the
interesting
fedora.
advertisement.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Ugh.
Without a doubt, our
Oh my God.
Warhammer is a fearsome weapon to meet. The heavy hammer head is drop forged out of 5150 steel and differentially heat treated for the ultimate in toughness. It comes with steel langettes to prevent an opponent from severing its 30-inch hickory handle.
Sounds like a penis joke. What the fuck?
So what are we looking at right now?
This is business casual man, kind of hefty, holding this warhammer. Why would he need it, first of all? And he's hammering chainmail. That's it. He's hammering a body of chainmail.
How would you describe this man's physique?
As if he delivers. He's a delivery man of some sort, or a salesman of some sort.
That's not really describing his body type.
I'm letting people decide. For
Are you
themselves.
too kind? This man's body looks like he Vitamixes muffins, and that's all he eats. He's got like a mustache. He's got the kind of glasses that are.
He's a
glasses,
bag of rocks shoved into a tube top.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, but it's like a very, very like too tight, like silk almost dress shirt.
It's definitely synthetic though.
Oh yeah.
So that shirt does not smell good.
So let's see what he has to say about this Warhammer.
That's with the hammer side. of a warhammer. Look at that.
Look at that.
Would you want to be wearing that?
Oh, fuck no.
Look at the. I don't know if the camera can see in there. There's like 7 or
Barely,
8 cardboard boxes backing this thing up, and I crushed probably 4 or 5 of them into nothingness. And
Did you,
ripped that
dude?
giant hole through that mail.
I don't think so, dude.
Wait. Is this sweat?
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
It is.
He's so wet.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and he has a cell phone holder.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Hmm.
He looks good. I like his safety glasses.
Yeah, and what I like about it's probably the Steven Seagal situation where he wears those all the time.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think so. And then he wears like yellow ones out in the sun,
it's gotta be
so he gets like
prepared.
good optics.
That's with the hammer. But you never want me to do this.
Oh no.
No. Oh, my God.
Didn't do much damage there. The music.
That's
Well-
super hardcore.
I wouldn't want that to be my face.
Yeah, no shit. You fucking sack of potatoes.
I just like it. I would just call it the muffin body. It's just like this body's made by muffins. Like this is the person that doesn't understand that muffins are cake. It's breakfast cake. And he's like, this isn't cake for breakfast. It's muffins. It's a breakfast food. It has whole brands. It's got a lot of fiber.
Oh, no.
I'd say that's pretty much done for your head.
Oh, my God. I feel like he wants to deliver these lines that are super cool. And he said, that doesn't look like much of a head anymore. Like,
because
what?
it's because this guy has like
Should have scripted it.
he has the charm of discarded hair, but he didn't script it exactly.
He should have scripted
should have
it. And
scripted
people
it.
should have been like, that's a good line.
But he thinks that he has charisma, and he doesn't. So this is the resulting.
I want to
issue.
see the other side of the hammer on this armor.
He's probably gonna do it.
Oh, yeah.
It crushed
So this
him
is like
just pretty
plate
good.
armor. This is not the chainmail.
I know. Here he goes. He's going
Oh.
for it.
Oh,
that's
my
pretty impressive.
God.
It does the trick.
Well, now you're lost your weapon. Oh, there you go.
There's no resisting the spike.
No resisting.
Ah. Whoa, dude. That is going to be part of a thumbnail.
Oh, he's kind of adorbs.
Holy shit.
You can't take that in the noggin.
No, you can't.
You can't take that in a noggin.
Awesome 15th century armor can't resist the power of cold steel.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is a professional. Holy shit. Nah, this is in a parking lot.
Yeah, this is their parking lot, I'm sure. In like Encino or something.
Yeah,
like,
somewhere in Southern California.
yeah. So that's that one. So who do you think buys these types of products?
I have no fucking clue.
Well, I found the
This
person
guy.
that does.
Oh, no.
Hello, I'm Keith, and today I'm going to be teaching you some methods that I came up with to use a katana to defend your home in the event of a burglar. So,
Buy a
what
gun.
else we're going to do...
You're probably in America.
Well, he's in UK, so he
fucking-
can't do that, because their country's
Hey.
apparently there's no-
Different.
yeah, okay. But so what I found interesting about Keith is he's real. I mean, he has a shitload of videos. I thought that this was like a fake thing
Just
for
a
a while.
one-off.
Keith looks. I mean, if you like the neckbeard meme
Is Keith.
is Keith, and I just didn't. I thought that these people were they. It was like a stock image that this person didn't really exist, but he does.
Say the burglar has a baseball bat, pipe, some kind of large blunt object about the same length.
Oh, boy, his
Large
accent.
blunt object
Sorry.
about
Blunt
the same
object.
length as a katana. Obviously, a burglar's not going to have...
Do you think there's some spectrum type situation going on here?
We are making a lot of enemies this podcast, Jordan.
Katana, that would be the most badass burglar ever, but I doubt that's going to happen to you. But, so, that would be the burglar here, my old beat-up punching bag. Now, he has
Oh,
a
don't
baseball
slice
bat,
it.
just as an example. Then when I'm done with this, I'm going to show you some things to do in the event that your burglar is armed with a firearm, which will be unfortunate, and you can't just run up to him and stab him, obviously, if he has a gun.
Yeah, because you're gonna die. Like, your sword. We stopped using them in combat because they're not very effective against, a Glock 23. So
You gotta be more stealthy about it.
you are not going to be stealthy doing anything, Keith.
Not at all.
You have a large
I wonder if he respects
BMI.
Hey. I wonder if he respects the art of katanas. I think we'll see very shortly. From this stance, he looks like he's about to.
It's a power stance.
Yeah, it's the sacred art of katana swordsmanship.
It is an interesting phenomenon with the just sort of lack of
The
attention.
dirt beard.
Well, I think it's just he's like, this sex isn't going to happen, so
Might as well just not try.
just not try. Which is, that's a bummer. Anyway,
Yeah.
But, burglar baseball bat.
Burglar baseball bat.
Is instead of your normal
Go
chest
smack him
out
upside the
on
head.
You want to extend it out more, keep him at range. He's not going to be able to walk into your blade. If he tries to go sideways, you keep him at length. If he tries to swing at you with the bat, just step back, move the blade out of the way. Baseball bats are heavy. If you swing it good, it's going to be way the hell over here. You can easily redirect your katana. Step out of the way. If
He has a
swings
point.
at you, step in.
Oh.
Burglar done. Also, if you're
I do feel bad mocking somebody like this, but it's just like, how did this? There's so many factors here that happened that made this so unfortunate. How could they all come? How could they all align? Like a weight problem, a speech impediment.
No, he just has an accent.
There's some no, because he's got like the Boglo thing going on too. That's not his accent. There's something else going on there. I mean,
Oh no.
and being into samurai swords.
Yeah, it is an interesting interest.
Like, there is nothing that will make a girl dry up faster than
Permanently seal her
that
own
rack, that
vagina.
kind of rack of like, or like a samurai sword mounted on the wall.
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
just a bad.
She would seal herself shut before getting filled up.
She does that. She can just shut it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
inside, you're likely going to have low ceilings. You're not going to be able to go way up here, do downward strikes.
He's
You
right.
definitely want to focus on horizontal.
I mean, in all actuality, I've been boning up on my katana skills from Keith.
Strikes, maybe upwards, diagonal.
That's not
Also,
realistic.
if you
The other thing too, and what I've heard is that the second a samurai sword hits something hard, it will just shatter.
Really?
They are not meant to
Oh.
do any of this stuff.
do, for some strange reason, need to do an overhead strike, what you can do, bring the blade kind of upwards, like
Blade?
this, around your head, and then down. You can't bring it straight up, you're going to break something, hit the ceiling, you don't want that. Last thing you need is the tip of your sword getting jammed in the ceiling if you're in a fight. Now, if you're in a big open room, all these are well and good.
It's that kind of thing where, like, if you had a baseball bat and I saw someone with a sword, I just don't think the person with the baseball bat would stop. I think that you would just
You
be
would
so
dent
fucking
the
dead.
sword with your fucking baseball
Yeah,
bat.
the sword would not.
Kunk.
Yeah, and also I don't think that Keith is going to move very fast, unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
because it's sort of like
Also, just take a kitchen knife.
yeah.
You don't need a katana. Ceremoniously, you remove it from its holster thing on the wall, and you unsheath it.
It is tricky though.
It
It's
is
like in terms
time.
of home defense in England, whose murder rate just exceeded New York,
Oh, good.
and they don't allow firearms. It makes you wonder, what would you use in England to protect yourself?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, because the people breaking into your house clearly abide by the felony for having a gun law, or whatever weapon that you're not supposed to have in England. Which is really neat with their very cool mayor.
See, if I had a
Sadiq Khan.
katana, I would just perform seppuku. Stab myself, die ceremoniously, bow before my elders. The painting that I have of my elders.
And then the Bogla will go and change his life. Or hers. Be all inclusive.
My soul embodies the burglar.
Ooh.
And that's how I prevent the burglary. My soul just out through my stomach.
I think Keith would approve of that tactic.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a whole plethora of that guy on the internet.
It's really quite interesting that exists. I'd love to see more of his stuff. Maybe one day we can have him on the podcast to talk about. Maybe we'll go international and have him over.
Hey, we go across the pond for
an interview with
Fruit Basket exclusive.
Katana Man.
Katana
Fruit
Man.
Basket exclusive.
Interview with Keith. Oh, you know what? We could probably go interview Muffin Man pretty easily. He's probably not that far away.
Here's the sitch. We order one of those hammers.
Oh,
We claim to have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Call customer service. It'll definitely be him because that's a 2-man operation.
Oh, for sure.
And we get him to come down, look at our hammer. In the meantime, we interview him.
Yeah, I love it. What would you ask him?
What's up?
Come on, you got some good. How do I achieve this?
How? So how did you get here, Mr. Warhammer Man?
I'd want to know, how do I achieve that physique? What
where do you
shirt
get your
do you wear?
chainmail?
Your
dude?
chainmail? That's
I
a good
really
question.
wanted. I'd love chainmail.
Probably from the same Chinese company he buys the Warhammers from. Honestly. So, anyway, we're at an hour.
We did it!
Yeah.
Episode 7.
Episode 7, Fruit Basket.
I really liked this one.
Yeah, it was fun.
Had a lot of fun.
Go see Solo. I actually am very curious to see if you hate it. Tell me. If you liked it, tell me too.
Yeah. I got podcast sweats again.
Yeah.
Or maybe coffee sweats.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Oh.
Anyway, chunk my
All
corn.
energized. Bye, Bo.